Welcome to Nachsimanim. I'm Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning melachim bet perek Gimel. We begin this perek where we have Achav's son Yehoram, who becomes king, and he is still very bad, but he gets rid of the pillar of Baal. Suddenly, Mesha, the king of Moab, he begins an insurrection against Israel. Yoram forms an alliance with Yehoshaphat and the king of Edom, and the three of them begin to try to crush the rebellion against Moab. They are then stranded in the desert of Edom for 7 days without water. And they are really, really thirsty. Yoram despairs, and he's thought that God brought them to perish. And Yehoshaphat says, "Let's go ask the Navi." They seek out Elisha. Elisha tells them that that Yoram his first reaction should have been to go to a prophet of God, and that he wouldn't normally prophesy, but because Yehoshaphat here, he will. And he needs a musician to play him music in order that he can be calm enough to prophesy. And then he tells them that they should dig trenches, and all of a sudden, these trenches fill up with water, and the next morning, there's water that is completely filling these trenches, and the people of Moab, see these trenches, and from the morning sun, which is red, they think that it is blood. And they thought that the kings have fought amongst themselves, and now Moab will take the spoil. They rush for an ambush in a hastily attack, leading Israel to completely destroy them and win and defeat in the insurrection. And in the final moments, the king of Moab has a sacrifice with his own son. As a recap, we have the alliance between Israel, Yehuda, and Edom, who come together to suppress the revolt of Moab. We have the crisis in the desert, in which they have no food. They go to Elisha, who needs music to prophesy, and tells him to dig ditches that fill with water. Then we have the illusion of the ditches being filled with blood, making Moab launch a hastily attack, thinking that they all killed each other, leading Moab to be defeated. We are in perek Gimel, so just like Zichru, we use a camel. The army buys a camel at the playhouse to store water after running out. This reminds us, so in this perek, we have the army of Yehuda, Israel, and Edom, who are fighting against Moab, and they are in a desert, are without water, and they need Elisha they go to Elisha to prophesy. He prophesies to dig ditches that fill up with water, and during the morning it looks red, leading Moab to think that it is the blood of the kings that fought each other. So they hastily attack and get defeated. One more time with the simon. The army buys a camel at the playhouse to store water after running out. We're now going to do a 4-perek back chazara, starting with perek Chaf Aleph, in which we use a car. Achav puts Navot's vineyard in the trunk of his car and drives away from the pantry. This reminds us how in this perek, Achav wants the vineyard of Navot. Izevel creates a whole scheme when she gets two people who would be false witnesses and testify that he cursed the name of God, leading Navot to die. Achav takes the property, and Eliyahu says, "Did you just kill a man and take his property? This is not good." And Achav realizes this and begins to do tshuva. Chaf Beis, in which we use a cab. The cab driver is killed in the pantry, escaping the battle in his cab. This reminds us, in this perek, Achav and Yehoshaphat come together to try to take over some of the land of Israel that was ruled over by another place. Achav brings in all of his prophets who say that they're going to win, but Michiyahu comes in based on what Yehoshaphat wants and tells them, "You're not going to win this, or really you will win, but Achav will be killed." Achav, in order to try to subvert this, pretends to become a commoner, like a taxi cab driver, but a stray arrow hits him and causes him to die. Now, perek Aleph of melachim Beis. Achaziyahu uses oil from the olive tree to heal him instead of seeking out God. This reminds us, so in this perek, Achaziyahu falls through the lattice roof, breaks his leg. He goes to send soldiers to Baal Zvuv, which is in Avodah Zarah in Ekron, and Eliyahu cuts off the soldiers' path and tells them, "What are you doing? Is there not a God in Israel that you have to go all the way to Ekron?" They then go back. Achaziyahu sends 3 groups of soldiers. Only the third one is spared. The first 2 are burned up. by Eliyahu. And Eliyahu then prophesies that you're going to die on this bed because you didn't seek out God. Perek Beis, in which we use a house. Eliyahu ascends to the top of the playhouse, waiting to be brought to Shemayim. This reminds us, so in this perek, Eliyahu begins to go to Beit El in order to be brought up to Shemayim by chariots. Elisha comes with him in loyalty and is able to see the chariots, meaning that he will be twice as great. He then splits the water. He heals water so people can drink it, and people that make fun of him, he sends bears at. Now we're going to do a 10-question pop quiz on the Sfarim we've learned. In which perek does the Aram officers falsely declare that Hashem, he's only the God of the hills, but if we fought Israel in the valley, we would win? Melachim Aleph, Perek Chath. In which perek does Israel, Yehuda, and Edom completely run out of water in the wilderness when they come together to fight Moab? Melachim Bet, Perek Gimel. In which perek does Achaziyahu fall through his upper lattice window, and instead of seeking out God, he seeks out Baal Zvuv of Ekron? Melachim Bet, Perek Aleph. In which perek does Zimri overthrow Elah, but only rules for 7 days before his palace is burned down in Tirzah, as Omri besieges it? Melachim Aleph, Perek Tet Zayin. In which perek does Eliyahu call down a column of fire from Har Carmel, leading to the nation declare Hashem Elokim when they realize that Hashem is the true God? Melachim Aleph, Perek Yud Chet. In which perek does the rising morning sun reflect off of the pool, making it off of the ditches that were dug and are full of water, making it look like blood? Melachim Bet, Perek Gimel. In which perek does the queen of Yerovam go in which perek does the queen, the wife of Yerovam, disguise herself to go to Achia Shiloni and ask if her son will survive? Melachim Aleph, Perek Yudalid. In which perek does Elisha strike the Yarden with Eliyahu's mantle, leading it to split? Melachim Bet, Perek Bet. In which perek does Yehonatan shoot 3 target arrows near Ezel as a signaling of danger that David should hide? Shmuel Aleph, Perek Chaf. In which perek does the tribe of Dan capture Laish and rename the city and establishes Micha's idol? Shoftim, Perek Yud Chet. That is it for today. May we be zocha to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time. And remember, day after day, have a wonderful day.